All right, man, peace. So future NBA Hall of Famer and all-time great LeBron James decided on Friday night that he was fed up with his team's performance and he was going to take it out on the Washington Wizards to the tune of 57 points. Of course, they're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
Guys, all the talk about what's wrong with the Cavaliers, LeBron heard it and you know he was going to answer. He did so loudly on Friday night. After the Wizards did the talking, LeBron, he did the rest.
And let me say this quickly about the Wizards. They once again showed how immature and precocious they are, how unready they are for the moment. You know, when you're truly ready for the moment, you don't have to do all that talking, especially things that are rather baseless. Every once in a while in the history of sports, you have certain precocious athletes who make statements that they don't seem ready for, but then they show you when the time comes that they are ready. One example is Cassius Clay versus Sonny Liston. The Wizards do not have enough equity to speak in the disrespectful tone that they spoke in regards to LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers. They've done nothing in the playoffs. All they did was blow a series last year to the Boston Celtics. So, you know, this little butt whooping that LeBron gave them, hopefully it teaches them to stay in their place.
Rest. Historic start in this game, too. After John Wall drives to get the layup, inbound the other way, LeBron's dunk here, Smitty's seventh player in NBA history to score 29,000 points, youngest to do it.
And that is a tremendous accomplishment. As I've already stated, I believe that LeBron has as one of his main goals, he'll never say it, but he'll have as one of his main goals to pass the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar mark for most points scored in the history of the NBA. I believe he wants to get to 40,000. It's just my own personal opinion. That's one of his goals. And then he'll give the disingenuous, well, I'm not really a scorer speech that he likes to give. Motherfucker he's going to score 40,000 points and talk about he's not really a scorer. I'm more of a distributor. And look, let me say this. In this era, it is a little bit easier to score, but LeBron James is without a doubt one of the top 10, borderline top 5 all-time great players to ever play. As I stated in another video, he's right there. By the end of his career, he'll probably be considered top 5, top 4. No, on my list, there's certain guys that I don't know if he can pass. I know that he can't pass Jordan because he's not going to have the success in the finals, and he's not going to ever be able to eradicate his performance against the Mavericks. That's the main reason why he can't pass Jordan. Now, in regards to Kareem, I don't believe he'll be able to pass Kareem, even if he scores more points because of Kareem's success in the finals once again. Bill Russell, you know, in his era, he stands alone, 11 championships. But he may be able to pass Magic if he can get one more title, which I don't think he's going to get. But just in regards to career accomplishments, he may be able to pass Magic, but it's going to be very close. In regards to Larry Bird, as I've stated numerous times, in my humble opinion, Larry Bird was greater in his prime than LeBron James was in his prime. And also, once again, Larry Bird played in an era without PEDs. All right, it is what it is. But anyway.
A lot of points in defense. He sit down on this play still, off and running. Stop ball! Stop ball!
24 at the half. Not alone, though. Grant, Derrick Rose had a nice couple of games, and here he is driving to the hole, did this several times.
And that double cross and finish, that's the Derrick Rose that we've known through the years. Just getting to the rim and the elevation, and as you say, Smitty, landing with confidence. Mm-hmm.
Well, he landed with confidence for now. But we all know how Derrick Rose is. Derrick Rose stubbed his toe and dislocated his hip joint, so we don't know how much longer he's going to be around. We have no idea how much longer Derrick Rose is going to be around. But when it comes to LeBron, when you're talking about LeBron, you're talking about an all-time great athlete, not just in the NBA, but in all sports. There's no doubt about that. Even though I talk about the PED usage, which once again, his name was on the biogenesis ledger. It is what it is. His name was there. I still think that he's an all-time great athlete. And most of these guys are on PED, so he's basically going against an even playing field. Okay? But, you know, when you start judging all time, these are things that you have to bring up. Larry Bird did play in an era without the PED usage. I mean, if Bird had the training techniques and the knowledge of supplements that a lot of these guys have today, who knows what guys like him or Magic Johnson, Bernard King, Michael Jordan would have done. Who knows? Now, in the 90s, that's when PEDs started to really creep into the NBA. So, I mean, who knows what went on even in the 90s. But that's neither here nor there.
Derrick Rose looking good.
20 points in the game for D Rose. LeBron, though, then says, get on my back.
Man, bully ball.
Down the lane. This isn't fair to Bradley Beal. I mean, come on now.
Not bad defense.
No chance, though.
Not bad. Well, that's a bucket. He's rolling.
Yeah, when LeBron is making that type of shot, he could pretty much get 40 whenever he wants.
He's rolling right now.
Inside with the floater. I mean, literally every way possible. What was one of the best 11.
That's a beautiful shot, and he's done a lot to add touch to his jump shot, especially mid-range in the last 5 or 6 years.
The best 11 nights of his career, because that's how many times he's scored more than 50. Jeff Green finds a nice look.
I thought that was about to be a hard one.
Made the free throw after the.
When you watch the NBA now, guys just get so many uncontested layups, and it's because all 5 positions now just stand outside the three-point line. Nobody guards the paint. Nobody guards the paint because of the stretch 4 and even the stretch 5 now. So now when you do get to the basket, there's nobody there to hit you. But LeBron James did also play in the early 2000s, which was, in my view, the most physical era in NBA history. It just was heavily moderated because of the rules against flagrant fouling. But, if you're talking about the most physical era, it's the early 2000s. Now, when we go back to the late 80s and the early 90s, you had certain teams that were extremely physical, like the Pistons and the Knicks. But, as far as overall physicality in the early 2000s, that's when it was the most physical. That's why you saw a lot of field goal percentages drop because of the level of physicality that was going on in the league at that time. That's why David Stern did a very good thing in modifying how the game was played, because it was becoming too grinding. The scores were down in the 70s and 80s.
After the foul, 14-point lead in the game itself. Cavs trying to win games. Bradley Beal says, enough of that. He gets to the lane, trying to keep Washington.
Once again, you see how Bradley Beal drove the lane? Back 25 years ago, a guy drove the lane. There was going to be somebody there who was going to contest the shot. There was going to be somebody there to contest the shot. But with everybody outside the paint now, it makes it easier once a guy beats his man to have an uncontested layup.
Washington above you at 36. Baseline. A lot more of that since last year, but Grant, LeBron, I mean, just too much of literally everything.
And those are difficult shots.
Beautiful shot, great arc.
You want that kind of defense if you're Washington. LeBron, feeling good, confident. Maybe they should have doubled him at some point there. Yeah, might have. Make him a little bit uncomfortable. There's Derrick Rose finding him down low in the paint. That's nice.
Would you say 23 out of 34 with 57 points and 11 boards and 7 assists is uncomfortable?
And that's what I love about a great LeBron game. You're always going to get the high proficiency. All right, when you see a Jordan or LeBron James score over 50, you can pretty much guarantee that they're going to be shooting in the high 50 to even mid 60 percentile. Okay, it's not going to be a guy scoring 50 points or 60 points on 55 shots like certain guys.
You said a lot of numbers there, huh?
They're all pretty good. 11th time over 50, 6th all time, tying Allen Iverson to do it. Here's Bron after breaking the losing skid.
You pretty much feel like everything you throw up is going in, and every shot that I took, I feel like it was going even when they were highly contested. I just had my eyes on the target, trying to stay as disciplined as I've grown, as a basketball player, staying disciplined with my shots, staying disciplined with my balance, and every shot that I took, I feel like it was going in.
Yes, and give him great credit for improving his mid-range and long-range jump shot, because LeBron's first couple of years, I mean, he couldn't hit the ocean with that jump shot of his, and even up to now, he still has. He still allows his his elbow to flare out a little bit too much on the jump shot. So much credit to him for being able to sharpen that jump shot to the level that he has.
You look at the numbers, a royal night indeed. How about the one at the bottom, which is really crazy? I know he had 57, but second player in NBA history, 800 consecutive games with at least 10 points.
And he's going to break that record this year, believe me, because LeBron is very cognizant of all the NBA records, particularly the ones that he has a chance to break, particularly the ones that are held by Michael Jordan. So he will break that. He will break that record this year.
Points.
That's
I mean, just
unreal.
think about that.
That's unreal. 800.
8 guys would give anything to play 800 games.
And the thing about it is, I mean, of all the great players that have played in this game, Michael Jordan and LeBron James. So that's rarefied air right there. Never had a day off. Very rarely is injured.
Yep.
And just brings it every time he steps on the court. And he brought it when his team needed it the most tonight.
In like 140 different ways. I mean, we would take the whole hour to break down all the things he did. What stood out to you as we look at what LeBron accomplished?
A lot.
Well, what stood out to me was the level of smoothness and the level of relaxation that LeBron has attained as he's matured in the NBA. Very relaxed. That means that he sees the game very slowly. He sees the game at a much more relaxed pace than he did when he was younger, and he sees it at a much more relaxed pace than anybody else in the NBA right now. I mean, he really is. He's at a Zen level right now where he's the best that he's ever been, honestly. He's not the athlete that he was, but his mental approach and understanding of the game is higher than it's ever been in regards to what he sees on the floor. That's why he never really gets, flummoxed. He doesn't suffer from as much anxiety as he did when he first stepped into the league, or the earlier part of his career when he was trying to get the championships.
A lot of things, obviously, the stamina and the energy he still has playing after all these years, but also watch the speed. I mean, you're still talking about a guy right now that's 6'8", 260, still able to get up and down, get out on his horse, and Derrick Rose finding him in the fast break, been able to finish still. Unbelievable athlete. And this one you can see, being able to take an angle as a defense Kelly Oubre because of Kyle Korver. Doesn't turn around. He takes advantage of that. Driving Otto Porter. He puts his shoulder into him. And one.
Yeah, that's just too much. Like, LeBron couldn't do that, 10 years ago, because even if he tried, and he was bigger and stronger than most of the guys back 10 years ago, 11 years ago, but there would have been a guy to meet him at the rim. Now, he would have had to finish over that guy, 10, 11 years ago. Now, with as spread out as these offenses are, all he has to do is beat one guy, lower his shoulder, and finish.
One. And this last one, this is where you look at it. He looks, recognizes John Wall is on him, and if he can start making this type of play down on the block and being comfortable, it's going to be really hard. As you get older, if you can go to the post and make easy shots like that, you'll start having some big numbers and even more efficient nights.
Obviously, this is a big win. That's the most important thing. Question is, do you worry at all about the fact that LeBron, you don't want to say he necessarily needed it, but he put 57 up and they get a win. You don't want that to be what you want to do because...
Absolutely. That's my point. To me, a 57-point performance, all it does is mask the problems that they clearly still have. What happens when LeBron is not blazing hot from the outside? He's not going to be able to score 57 points every game. So I believe that Cleveland's problems are still there. But, every once in a while when you have a transcendent player, they'll win games by themselves for you and just keep the ship afloat until they can get everything in order. Now, this is really going to be a referendum on Tyronn Lue. Is he going to be able to provide the requisite solutions for the team?
Because LeBron is the best as a facilitator, not somebody trying to score 50 points.
Yeah, no question. I mean, look,
LeBron is a good passer, but this notion that he is at his best as a facilitator, that's a lot of media narrative. LeBron is a great overall player. I don't believe that he's a better passer than he is a scorer, even though he likes to push this nonsense about how he prefers to pass more than score. That's nonsense. If you did, you'd be averaging about 18 points and about 13 assists. For your career, you're about 27-7 in regards to points to assists. So you prefer to score.
I mean, look, as a graphic showed earlier, he's had 50-plus point games before. But for Cleveland, you don't want him to have to rely on that or the team to...
As I stated, LeBron is still a very good help defender in the post and in the paint.
Team to rely on that. Washington said, look, we're going to play him one-on-one. We don't want him to be a facilitator. We want him to beat us by scoring. And really, by his nature, he doesn't really want to do that. I think
Bullshit.
I think he wants to get everybody...
If you want to see an example of a guy who really doesn't want to score, look at Lonzo Ball.
Get everybody involved, really be sort of a point guard out there on the floor. But tonight they dared him. and he came through, and he really hit some tough shots. I mean, shots that I don't know if I've seen some of those shots.
Well, I know I've seen LeBron get that type of hot before. Now, when he scored 61 on Charlotte, he was doing that. LeBron is he's a transcendent player. And when you have transcendent players, even if they're not all-time great jump shooters, they have those type of nights where they just get to blaze it from the outside. I mean, hell, David Robinson once had 71 points in a game, and he's not on LeBron James level.
Multiple shots like that in the post, in the mid-post, going to the fadeaway. So just a fantastic night and getting that acknowledgement from another.
Yeah, well, Dame, no disrespect to you, bro, but that's about as close as you're going to get to holding that trophy.
From another great player in this league.
A guy who owns it himself. I saw that last night with Lillard with the tweet, Bron looking different, but let's talk about what was different. That was the Wizards before the game. Bradley Beal, John Wall were the best team in the East, and we've got their number, we've got their eye on them, whatever. I mean, really, do you want to do that to LeBron James and the Cavaliers? I mean, don't you get there and prove you can do it and then do the talking?
Look, as I've already stated, I mentioned this in a previous video to brothers. You never let your opponent know that you're coming, particularly if they're in a dominant position. If somebody's on the mountaintop, you rather scale the mountaintop with their back to you than with their front to you. If their front is to you, then they can throw rocks down at you. So that just shows you that John Wall and Bradley Beal, number one, their team is suffering from a lack of confidence. They're not confident. They're suffering from a lack of confidence, and they're trying to pump themselves up and pump their teammates up. And also, their leadership is not very wise.
Well, you know, some guys talk and play, some guys don't. It still comes down to those letters, those wins and losses, and obviously the Cavs go away with another win. I think for the Washington Wizards, they're still...
Steve got to stop drinking all that damn hard alcohol. Man, so I look like a damn raccoon. All around his eyes, all dark.
They're a team that I like, G. Hill. They play hard, but they're still missing something for them. And I think they have to find a way to gut out games. It just can't be a game where they're knocking down shots. You got to find ways to win ugly. I don't know if they can do that yet. Great point, Smitty. And look, a whale doesn't get harpooned until it spouts.
Thank you, sir. That's the exact point that I was just making. You never let your opponent know that you're coming.
And so for Washington, just keep quiet, keep working, write that one down, Casey. Keep committing to getting better.
Yeah.
Well,
you know what you do when that happens, Smitty?
LeBron James.
This is what you do when that happens, Duke. You just write.
No, actually, I learned that from a Michigan guy.
You did? Or are you just trying to screw with Smitty?
I'm sorry, it's late.
Oh man, Smitty, that ain't right. I wouldn't do you like that. Not on Friday.
Not on Friday. We good.
All right, so now let's see what Tyronn Lue had to say about this game and LeBron's phenomenal performance.
Story of the night, LeBron James, 57 points. Ties a franchise mark. You know who had that? Kyrie Irving. Most he's scored since he came over from the Heat, 11th time, 50 plus, that's 6th all-time, tied with AI. Did it every way possible. By the way.
And let me say this, if LeBron knew that he was tied with Kyrie for that point total, he would have gone out of his way to break that point total. I guarantee you that. Because LeBron is very cognizant of records, and he likes to break them, and there's nothing wrong with that. You definitely want to transcend and go upward and above what has been set before you. That's the point of records, is to break them.
By the way, how about youngest to 29,000 points? Also pretty good.
That sounds crazy to me, 29,000.
That's because it is crazy.
Makes me tired. 29,000. I don't know if I got 29,000 miles on my car.
I can't even count to 29,000.
That's unbelievable.
That is unbelievable.
Top scoring game, 61 at the top. You know who's headed there? Singer. Well, sort of. He's coming off his career high. He's getting there, guys.
Did you just say Singer and 29,000?
Well, I'll tell you in a second. In the meantime, here's Ty Lue, happy to get a win.
At that point, did you know this is going to be one of those nights for him?
We came to the end of the third quarter, came to the bench and said, you need a quick one? No. So we knew that, he was feeling good. And
Yeah, well, he was going to say no regardless. He knew that this was a must-win game for them. They could not afford to lose 6 in a row. And that's his job. He's the captain. They needed a performance like this from him, and LeBron has shown in his career that when his team does need him, that he's going to do his best to go out there and respond to that call. I mean, other than the Maverick series, of course.
good, and he carried us. But, you know, we just got to continue to keep running through the game. I thought when we got up 15, 16, we got stops, we walked the ball up the court, and kind of got stagnant. So,
Well, that happens when you have an old team. When they get up 15, 16, they're going to slow the ball down because they're tired. They're not going to run unless they have to.
So when we get stops, you know, we got to continue to run through the game for 48 minutes.
We'll see. You guys are never going to run for 48 minutes, Tyronn. You know that. And, you know, this is, once again, this is the reason why Kyrie left to go to Boston. I believe that, and Kyrie made it very clear when he was on First Take that he viewed Tyronn Lue as being a very unimaginative head coach. All right, so now they're just going to put LeBron James's performance in a certain perspective, which is going to show you how phenomenal it was. Let's see what they show.
Friday night, that was a lot of LeBron. Like 57 points, tying the franchise mark set by Kyrie a couple of years ago. The 23 field goals, the most in his career. And the accolades and the records are so many, it's rare you see something new from LeBron, but we got that tonight. By the way, 11th time that he has scored 50. How about most points by player 32 older?
This just shows you, this when you look at this list, you see that Wilt Chamberlain scored 60 twice back in 1969, mostly on dunks. Kobe had 60 in his last game of his career and, you know, needed 55 shots. LeBron James scored 57 and was 23 of 34. So I'm sure that on this list, his performance was the best performance out of all these guys. So as far as regular season is concerned, he probably had the greatest scoring performance by any player over 32 years old in NBA history. Now, Michael Jordan once had a game against the Wizards. I think they were the Bullets still at that time in the 97 playoffs where he scored 55 points in a game in Chicago, and it was in the playoffs. But this game, as far as regular season, is probably the greatest performance in NBA history by a player over 32 years old.
On the same night where he was the youngest to get to 29,000, we talk about his age here at 57.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable being able to play at such a high level, known as a facilitator, being able to come out and score like that and take your hat off to him.
By the way, the highest scoring night after you're 32. You're 32 now, right, Smitty?
Close.
Okay, close. Now, Grant, you remember back years ago.
Smitty 32 in dog years. Smitty at least 210 years old.
Years ago.
It was
Back in time.
But anyway, that's the video on LeBron James and his great night. Peace.